Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, I am OverHugs, and I'd like to welcome you back to Stoneblock 3. Let's get on to today's activities. First and foremost, this is not the way. We're going to be fixing this right now. So to do that, let's clear out some space that we can then use for Create, which is a fantastic mod. I am absolutely delighted that it is this early in the pack. Create is one of my favorite mods that's come out in, I don't know, the past forever, I think. I think forever is the correct amount of time. Yep, I think that's going to turn into a running gag. So let's clear out some space here, and what we're going to do is we're going to build ourselves a water wheel, which is one of the basic ways that you can get early rotational force in Create. I'm really loving this diamond hammer. I am really regretting right now that we can't put any form of unbreaking or anything on it to keep it, but I'm sure it will not be that long in the pack before we can do it again. So I'm going to clear a bit of this out, and then I'll be right back. One thing Minecraft has taught me is regardless of how much space you think you're going to need, make it bigger. You'll need more. All right, so now we want to make some water wheels. So for that, we need slabs and large cogwheels. Large cogwheels are cogs and planks. And yeah, okay, that's not too bad. Let's go get all of that. So let's go through. We'll make, sure, four cogwheels. We'll need it anyway. We'll make 4 water wheels. We will definitely need some shafts from Create as well, which we need andesite alloy to make, which is fine. We can make a bunch of that. That'll be enough. And I want to get at least a couple of shafts, and we'll definitely need some additional cogs in order to go through and make all this work. So let's make, yeah, 12 of those, and we'll probably need at least 4. So, okay, let's go over here and let's get started. All right, so I want to put my water wheels right about here, and we're just going to put them all right next to each other. And I kind of like to see the water, so I'm going to block it in using glass so that we can, because I think it's neat. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to take our hammer and we're going to make a hole in the floor right here so that the water does not spill out everywhere and go into ridiculous places, because we like to kind of keep our base at least a little bit neat for now. No promises what it looks like in 3 episodes. All right, so we want to do glass black here so it will flow in the right direction. And then we should just be able to do this, and it doesn't create an infinite water source. So let's get 2 more. That's a little ridiculous that we can't just get a infinite water source out of it, but there we go. We have 4 water wheels spinning nicely, and let's clean this up a little bit because I don't like the way that looks. So now what we want to do is we want to grab our millstone from over here, because we certainly don't need it anymore, and we certainly do not want to do any of this shall we say, ridiculousness when it comes to hand cranking. And what we will need here, and now that we've got this rotational force, we're going to have to change the axes. We're going to have to rotate it 90 degrees. And the way that we do that is through gearboxes, which in order to make a gearbox, what you have to do is you have to take some logs, you have to strip them, and then you have to do that in order to go through and get the andesite age. So now we have done an andesite casing. And in order to make a gearbox, you need an andesite casing and some cogwheels. So we've got a couple of those. I don't want to use too many, but we are probably going to need these. So let's just make some more cogwheels while we're at it. So we want to turn this to a vertical gearbox, which you just do by putting it in the crafting. And what that will do is that will take the rotational force that's going in this direction and make it in this direction. Now that we've got that, what we can do is we can take one of our cogwheels and we can place it right there. Now what that will do is give us the rotational force in the right direction, where if we put down our millstone, you can see it is now automatically turning, which is fantastic. So now no more of this hand cranking. We just put it in and it will automatically turn. That's great. But that's not exactly what we want when it comes to the longer term stuff, because we want to be able to do this through a hopper. So we have our millstone, we put a chest on there, we put a hopper on there. We don't have another hopper, so we go make another hopper. And then we put our hopper right in there, and now we have automation. We can just feed this and we can come back and collect materials. which is great. So this is the very beginning of what our power will look like using create. All right, now we chuck that thing full of gravel and we wait. And remember, in order to get this gravel, go from compressed cobblestone, because you don't have to do a 1-to-1. You can do 9-to-1, which saves you a lot of time. Well, yes, this is much better. That takes care of iron and zinc. Check. All right, and next from working on create in the past, I know we're going to want to set up a washing station, and we're going to do that right here, where it will be washing, blasting, haunting. Actually, we're probably going to have to do it this way because we don't have enough space. If we had thought about it, remember that time when I said you always need more space than you think? Yeah, you need more space than you think. But let's go and make ourselves some encased fans. And in order to do that, we're going to need to make engineering hammers, because we could make a smashing station, but engineering hammers, if they are in this pack, are much better because they require far less materials. Engineering hammer. All right. Iron, string, sticks. We have already prepared for string. If you want to get string early, you want to crook dirt until you get hemp. Hemp will go through. Hemp will give you industrial hemp fiber, which you can go through and use in order to make string. And that is how you get that early in this pack, since there are very few mobs. Unless you want to make a mob farm, you can always do that too. But let's make ourselves an engineering hammer, and we don't have enough sticks, but yes, we do. They're just somewhere else. And so now we have an engineering hammer. And since we have an engineering hammer, we can now take our iron and just use that to make iron sheets. You know, this is a heck of a lot faster than having to make the thing that you stamp it with when you're doing that. And then encased fan. So going through and making an encased fan, we need to make a propeller. Let's just make 4 straight off, because I know we are going to have 4 lanes. And then we don't quite have enough because we need to make a couple more wash your hand. We need to make a couple more andesite casings. So let's do that. All right. And here we've created a basic washing station. And right now I'm a little low on materials, so I'm prioritizing cost over looking good. We'll come back and fix this later. So what's going on, just to let you know, is we have transferred the force via the shaft down here to these cogwheels. The cogwheels are coming here and they're turning from a gearbox, and they're turning this encased fan. The encased fan is blowing through this water, and what the water will do here is it will wash anything that gets in the way. And what we can do is we can wash things like sand. So we can take sand and we just drop it in there, and you'll see it starts washing it. And what is cool about this pack is once it goes through and it completes washing it, we will start getting more resources that we really need, as you can see in there. So let's run and pick all these up, and you see we get gold, sulfur, nickel, silver, appetite. It's like what you get before you have your lunch. Yeah, okay, bad jokes. That's what we do here. And raw copper. So this is going to give us a whole bunch of things. And you can also see that if we look at gravel and some of the other stuff that we were doing before, you can go through and you can wash gravel wherever it is. Yeah, washing. So you can wash gravel and look at all the stuff we get. You can also blast it and you get slag, and slag can lead to a bunch of other materials, but that's another episode. So let's go through and finish this with the 4 stations that we need. Now this looks a little bit better, but you'll see we only have 2 of the 4 stations. What are the other 2, you may be asking? And in order to answer that, let's look at encased fans. And encased fans will show us the 4 different kinds. We have washing, which we set up. We have smoking, which we haven't set up yet, and that's for all the kinds of cooking. We have blasting, which is basically the replacement of a furnace. If you want to do a lot of stuff really quickly, blasting is much faster than any of the furnaces. And we also have haunting. And the really powerful thing about haunting is that you can use existing sand in order to go through and create more soul sand. And then once you go through and you wash soul sand, this is our way of getting quartz, dust, and gold. So that's what we're going to set up. And in order to do that, we need to come back over here to our friendly create station and make a mixer. So in order to make a mixer, it's all things we've seen before except this whisk. And the whisk is more of the iron sheets, which is one of the reasons we made so many. Sometimes I do know what I'm doing. And we will go through and we will make our mixer. And the mixer is a little bit unique in that you can't just hook it up, because you'll notice it's not rotating with enough speed. It will not work. So what we need to do is we need to get into one of our first ways of increasing rotational force, at least early game. And the way that you can go through and fix this is basically by taking a large cogwheel and transferring it to a small cogwheel. You can see that the two are rotating at different speeds. This one is rotating at roughly double the speed of that one. But that's not all. You can continue this by attaching the large cogwheel to the top. You can't just go diagonal because that will slow it down again, and going to another small cogwheel. And again, you see our doubling effect. And now if we're to hook up the mixer to this, you will see that we are now spinning at an appropriate speed. Hooray! The second part of our mixer is a basin. And in order to make a basin, it's pretty simple. Andesite alloy again. All right, now that we've made our basin, we can just put it below the mixer, and anytime that anything goes in there that is mixable, the mixer will auto-engage. Now what we want to do at this point is we want to make soul sand. And in order to make soul sand in a mixer, we need any kind of sand, a mob soul, and water. Mob souls you get by just killing a mob, so it's time to go hunting. Ta-da! Let's go find some mobs. All right, so we've just made a little area down here, and let's knock out these torches so that it goes completely dark, and wander about 24 blocks away so that we can get things to start to spawn. And since there's nothing in this world, I'm guessing that it's going to be pretty quick. And oh look, we already have our first visitor. I will take you, however. And there we go, first shot. All right, let's organize a little bit. Mob soul. All right, so we got what we needed. Perfect. We're done. Let's go make our soul sand. So now we've got everything we need. We throw in some water. We throw in some sand. We throw in our mob soul, and there we go. Mixy, mixy, mixy. And you can now, if you look in, we have our soul sand, which is our goal here. So yoink that out, go through and clear this out right here. And now we need to find ourselves a flint and steel. Flint and steel acquired, and let's come back and light this. And there we go. We have that one. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if that will actually stay on or not, but if it does, then here we go. Here are our 4 stations. And again, the reason we did this is we can just go through and take sand and throw it into our hunting, and what it will do is it will automatically turn into soul sand. So now that we've gone through and we've had to do the difficult process of creating one, we now have basically infinity. And there we go. Now it has transformed. That's kind of creepy. Oh, I feel haunted. I like it. That's awesome. That's a nice little touch. So washing is going to be how we get our resources in the near future, because you can see we get diamonds, we get lapis, we get all kinds of other stuff. But for right now, what we really want is redstone, because what we want to do is we want to automate this whole thing. So in order to get redstone, we need to wash dust. So let's go get some dust. And there we go. Now we have dust. So let's throw the dust in here to be washed. Not much in redstone, but better than 0. So we'll definitely need to figure that out. But what we want to do next is find a way to go through and complete this automation chain, because going through and doing that manually is not good. So let's see how we can go through and get dust in the first place. So dust is hammering. So we can do it manually, or this is this other thing called an auto hammer. What do I need to make an auto hammer? I need redstone, I need gold, I need an iron hammer. I have all these things. Automatically crushes materials down to based on the tier of the hammer. Awesome. Let's get that. Let's make one. And here we go. Now we have our first auto hammer. So let's put that down over here and see what we can do. All right, so if we take an auto hammer and we put it down, it does nothing. So we're gonna have to feed it something. So okay, so there's an in arrow and an out arrow. At least I assume that red is in and blue is out. So we need to reverse this, and we need to provide it with probably a cobble generator. So let's go back and get our cobble gen. I bet it needs an inventory. So I bet what we're going to have to do is this. We're going to put the cobble generator underneath, and then we're going to have to put a chest on top. Yep, so that works that way, and then like this. Yes, yes. Okay, blue is in, red is out. So this will give us gravel. So I think we need a couple of more, because What do we want the most of right now? Well, we want to hook up gravel to that thing so that that will create us lots of iron and all this other stuff. We want to have multiple lines of this so that we have the opportunity to make anything we need. If we want to do gravel or sand or dust, I don't think you can wash dirt. So we need 3 lines for this, and I'm sure we're going to need dirt anyway. So why don't we just create all 4? Let's create a bunch more auto hammers and get this working. So we've got this level of automation here where the cobblestone generator pushes into this chest, which pushes into this auto hammer, which goes from cobblestone to gravel. And here we go from gravel to dirt, and there we go from dirt to sand. We can just pick up the sand, take it over here and throw it in to be washed, and that will get us a decent amount of resources for the short term while we build the remainder of the lanes. Eventually this will be 4 different lanes where there will be 4, 3, 2, and 1, so that we'll be able to have dust, sand, dirt, and gravel. And then we're probably going to want to do the same thing here so that we can automatically feed in and get all our stuff. So that will get us some basic resources. Let's finish up this build. So remember when I said that going through and using this was much faster than anything in the furnace? Yeah, we need lots of stone. So the nice thing is it doesn't really matter how much you throw in here, it will still take approximately the same amount of time in order to go through and cook, which if we did that many stacks in a furnace, we'd be here until the next video, especially at the speed that I make them lately. Toasty. And there we go. Lots and lots of stone. Let's make some more cobble generators. And there we go. All of our generation needs complete. A few tweaks later, and here we go. This is pretty much the system all set up. One other thing I did notice while I was cleaning up is this mod pack has the drawers mod and functional storage, which is great because if you're ever storing single items, it is fantastic for it. By default, you can hold 2048 of one item, which is pretty darn good, especially for what we're doing here. I also had another loot bee visit us, which gave us this wonderful crystal chest, which is kind of cool. The way that you can do... Ooh. You can shift and show what's in the inventory. Ooh, I like that. But as you can see, we've gone through and we've gotten quite a lot of resources, both of these types and the smeltable types. So between this and our system over here, which we have now fully automated with a cobble gen and an auto hammer, this is chewing around. I think we are all kinds of set in resources for at least the near future. So with that, I think we're going to call it an episode today. Once again, I wanted to thank you for choosing to spend your time on the adventure with me today. I am OverHugs, and this has been Stoneblock 3. As a reminder, I donate all of the profits I make off of this to local food banks. So if you enjoyed or otherwise gotten something of value out of this today, I would really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, or tell a friend. Together, we can help people that are in need. I hope you have the most wonderful of days, and I'll see you soon.